My name's Captain Rudius, and I've spent over 15 years commanding ships across the Atlantic. I've faced typhoons, mechanical failures, even rescue missions. But what happened that night? That foggy, silent night off the coast of Bermuda was something no sailor could ever prepare for. It started like any other voyage. Over 3,000 passengers on board, heading from Miami to Lisbon. Families enjoying dinners, couples dancing, kids running around the deck. The sea was calm. Almost too calm. Around 9 p.m., I noticed the fog closing in fast, thicker than anything I'd seen in years. It swallowed the horizon completely. That's when the first thing went wrong. My first officer, Daniel, called out, "Captain, radar's down. System just froze. Rebooted," I told him. He did. Twice. Nothing. Then the GPS failed. Then the radio. All communications. Gone. We were sailing blind in a wall of fog. I called down to engineering. Chief Engineer Morales said every system was running perfectly. No reason for the radar to fail. No reason for the blackout in our comms. He sounded uneasy. That man never sounded uneasy. I went outside to check the visibility myself. That's when I saw it. A faint blue light in the fog. Hovering. Pulsing. It wasn't a ship light. It wasn't lightning. It was something else. It flickered for a few seconds, then disappeared like it had never been there. A minute later, our ship's foghorn sounded by itself. No one had touched the controls. "Daniel, Captain, passengers are panicking. They're saying they're hearing voices." "Me? Voices?" "Daniel, from the water, like people calling for help." That's when we heard it too, faint, distant cries, echoing through the fog. It sent chills down my spine. I grabbed the binoculars, but there was nothing. Only gray mist. Endless gray mist. The crew started arguing. Morales insisted it was some kind of electromagnetic interference. One of the deckhands whispered it was the triangle. Another said he saw a shadow in the water, a shape, moving below us. I told everyone to stay focused. Fear spreads faster than fire on a ship, but deep down, even I felt it. Something wasn't right. At 11:32 p.m., the engine stopped. No warning. No vibration. Just silence. That silence was worse than any storm. No wind, no waves, just a massive dead stillness. We were stranded in the middle of nowhere. The emergency generators kicked in, but the lights flickered like we were running out of power. I went down to the engine deck myself. That's when I found it. Seawater leaking from the bulkhead near the aft storage. But that part of the ship was above sea level. It was impossible. The leak wasn't coming from outside, it was seeping through the metal itself, like the ship was sweating salt water. I touched it, and the metal was freezing cold, as if it had been submerged in ice. Then I heard a sound behind me. Footsteps. Slow, wet. "Morales?" I called out. No answer. Just the echo of water dripping. I turned around and saw a figure standing at the end of the corridor. Tall, soaked, dressed like a sailor from another time. When I blinked, he was gone. Back on the bridge, Daniel looked pale. He said, "Captain, we just received an SOS from our own ship." That made no sense. I checked the comms log. There it was. SOS. From vessel, Atlantis Queen. Coordinates matching ours. Our own ship had just called for help. Then the power died completely. Emergency lights turned blood red. The fog outside glowed faintly with that same blue pulse. We had no steering, no communication, and passengers were starting to riot. A woman ran to me crying that her husband had vanished from their cabin. Another swore she saw people walking on the surface of the water outside. Daniel and I decided to make our way to the lower decks to search. That's when the floor tilted sharply. The ship lurched to the right, and I heard a deep, thunderous rumble. Something massive scraped against the hull. We finally reached the observation deck. The fog began to thin just slightly, enough to see another ship. An old one, rusty, barely afloat. It looked abandoned, yet lights flickered inside. Its name was painted faintly on the side. Atlantis Queen. My ship's name, our ship's name. Identical in every detail. Same markings, same structure, same lifeboats. We were looking at ourselves, then lightning struck, and for a split second I saw dozens of figures standing on its deck, all wearing our uniforms, all staring back at us. And then, the fog swallowed everything again. When I woke up, I was in the captain's chair. The sun was shining, the radar was back online, the ship's systems were normal. Morales was alive. Daniel was fine, but no one remembered what happened that night. No logs, no records, except one thing, the SOS message. It was still on the screen. Time-stamped exactly at 11:59 p.m. Message content: if anyone receives this, turn back. The sea remembers. I never reported it to headquarters. Who would believe it? Sometimes when the fog rolls in at night, I look out at the ocean and wonder, what if we never made it out? What if the ship we're sailing now is the one that sent the SOS?